Autumn had cast its golden hue over the sprawling campus of Westbridge University. The ivy-clad buildings stood tall and majestic, their ancient bricks whispering tales of generations past. Yet as the nights grew longer and the shadows deepened, a new tale began to unfold, a tale of fear and mystery that would leave an indelible mark on the university's history. It all started with the disappearance of Emily Turner, a bright and bubbly sophomore majoring in journalism. Emily was known for her inquisitive nature and her knack for uncovering the truth. Her friends described her as fearless, always the first to venture into the unknown. But one chilly October evening, Emily vanished without a trace. Her last known location was the campus library, where she had been researching for an article about the university's dark past. Her laptop, notes, and even her jacket were found neatly placed on a table, but Emily was nowhere to be found. The campus security initiated a search, and the local police were brought in, but it was as if she had been swallowed by the darkness. Detective Laura Bennett was assigned to the case. A seasoned investigator with a sharp mind and an unyielding determination, she delved into Emily's life, seeking clues that might explain her sudden disappearance. Laura interviewed Emily's friends, professors, and classmates, but no one had any answers. As she pored over Emily's notes, Laura discovered that Emily had been investigating a series of unsolved murders that had taken place on the campus in the 1970s. The victims, all students, had been found with their throats slit and their faces frozen in expressions of sheer terror. The murderer, known only as the Silent Scream, had never been caught. Emily's notes hinted at a possible connection between the old murders and a string of recent deaths that had been ruled as accidents. Laura's gut told her that Emily had stumbled upon something dangerous, something that someone wanted to keep hidden. Laura began to dig into the university's archives, uncovering records of the old murders and the original investigation. She learned that the murders had abruptly stopped after the mysterious disappearance of a student named Michael Carter, who had been a prime suspect. Michael's body was never found, and his case remained open. As Laura delved deeper, she found eerie similarities between the old murders and the recent accidents. The victims had all been involved in various scandals, and there were whispers of a secret society that had existed on campus, a society known as the Keepers of Silence. Determined to uncover the truth, Laura sought out Professor Henry Lawson, a retired criminology expert who had been teaching at Westbridge during the time of the original murders. Professor Lawson had been obsessed with the case and had even written a book about it, although it had been dismissed as sensationalist by many of his peers. Professor Lawson welcomed Laura into his cluttered study, his eyes alight with a mix of excitement and caution. He explained that the Keepers of Silence had been a secret society formed by a group of students who believed in maintaining order through any means necessary. They had taken it upon themselves to punish those they deemed morally corrupt. Lawson theorized that Michael Carter had been a member of this society and that his disappearance had been a result of internal conflict. He believed that the Keepers of Silence had continued to operate in the shadows, their activities buried beneath layers of secrecy and deception. Laura found herself drawn into a web of intrigue and danger. She knew that exposing the society would not be easy, and she feared that Emily's life was in grave danger if she was still alive. As Laura pieced together the puzzle, another student went missing. Sarah Whitman, a senior majoring in history, vanished under similar circumstances as Emily. Panic spread through the campus like wildfire, and students began to fear for their lives. Laura intensified her efforts, working tirelessly to connect the dots. She discovered that both Emily and Sarah had been investigating the same scandals that the old victims had been involved in. It became clear that the Keepers of Silence were targeting those who threatened to expose their secrets. Late one night, as Laura combed through the archives, she found a cryptic message tucked inside one of the old case files. It was a list of names of students who had disappeared over the years. At the bottom of the list was Emily's name, followed by Sarah's. The message was signed with a single chilling word: justice. Laura realized that she had to act quickly. She reached out to Emily's friends, urging them to share any information they might have withheld out of fear. One of them, a computer science major named Jack, revealed that Emily had been meeting with someone who had claimed to have information about the society. Using this lead, Laura traced Emily's last movements to an abandoned building on the edge of campus. She gathered a team of officers and prepared for a raid, hoping to find Emily and Sarah before it was too late. As they stormed the building, they found themselves in a labyrinth of dark corridors and hidden rooms. The air was thick with the scent of decay, and the walls were adorned with disturbing symbols. In the deepest recesses of the building, they found a hidden chamber, makeshift courtroom where the Keepers of Silence had carried out their twisted form of justice. In the center of the chamber, bound and gagged, were Emily and Sarah. They were alive but weak, their eyes wide with fear. Laura rushed to free them, but a shadowy figure emerged from the darkness, the leader of the Keepers of Silence. The leader, an older man with a cold, calculating demeanor, revealed himself as Michael Carter. He had survived all those years, hiding in the shadows and continuing his gruesome mission. He spoke of his belief in justice and the need to rid the campus of corruption. Laura confronted him, her voice steady and resolute. "This isn't justice. It's murder. You've terrorized this campus for decades, and it ends now." A tense standoff ensued, but Laura's team managed to overpower Michael and his followers. The chamber was sealed off, and the remaining members of the society were apprehended. Emily and Sarah were taken to the hospital and eventually recovered from their ordeal. The university administration, shaken by the revelations, pledged to overhaul campus security and ensure that such horrors would never happen again. Detective Laura Bennett became a hero in the eyes of the students and faculty, her relentless pursuit of justice finally bringing an end to the reign of terror. The story of the Silent Scream and the Keepers of Silence became a cautionary tale, a reminder of the darkness that can lurk behind even the most respectable facades. As the seasons changed and the campus returned to its normal rhythm, the shadows of the past began to fade. But for those who had lived through the nightmare, the memories remained a silent scream echoing in the depths of their minds, reminding them of the thin line between justice and vengeance. Months passed, and Westbridge University began to heal. The media frenzy surrounding the case had finally quieted down, and the campus returned to a semblance of normalcy. However, the scars left by the silent scream were deep, and the fear of the unknown still lingered. Detective Laura Bennett had become something of a legend among the students. Her tenacity and bravery were often spoken about in hushed tones. Despite the closure of the case, Laura couldn't shake the feeling that something was still amiss. Michael Carter and his followers had been apprehended, but Laura's instincts told her that there were more secrets hidden within the walls of Westbridge University. One evening, as Laura was organizing the last of the case files, she received a phone call from Jack, the computer science major who had helped her previously. His voice was trembling with urgency. "Detective Bennett, I found something. You need to come to the computer lab immediately," he said. Laura arrived at the lab to find Jack hunched over his laptop, surrounded by a clutter of papers and old hard drives. He explained that he had been going through some old digital archives when he stumbled upon an encrypted folder labeled Justice. "I managed to crack the encryption," Jack said, his fingers tapping nervously on the desk. "You need to see this." He opened the folder to reveal a series of disturbing videos. The footage was grainy and dark, depicting scenes of the secret society's rituals and punishments. The most chilling aspect was that the videos were recent recorded within the past year. "It looks like Michael Carter wasn't acting alone," Jack said, his voice shaky. "There are more members out there, and they're still active." Laura's blood ran cold. The nightmare wasn't over. There were still members of the Keepers of Silence operating in the shadows, continuing their twisted form of justice. Determined to put an end to the society once and for all, Laura launched a covert investigation. She knew she couldn't rely solely on official channels, as the society had proven to be deeply rooted within the university. Instead, she formed a small, trusted team of students and faculty who were equally committed to uncovering the truth. The team worked tirelessly, gathering evidence and identifying potential members. They discovered that the Keepers of Silence had been recruiting new members from the student body, exploiting their grievances and fears to manipulate them into joining their cause. Laura's investigation led her to a named Professor Charles Whitaker, a respected member of the faculty who had been quietly orchestrating the society's activities from behind the scenes. Whitaker's outward demeanor was one of charm and intellect, but Laura's team uncovered a dark side and obsession with maintaining order and justice at any cost. Laura and her team decided to confront Whitaker in his office, hoping to catch him off guard and force a confession. They approached the dimly lit office with caution, their hearts pounding with anticipation. As they entered, they found Whitaker seated at his desk, a calm smile playing on his lips. He didn't seem surprised to see them. "Ah, Detective Bennett, I've been expecting you," he said, his voice smooth and untroubled. "Professor Whitaker, we know about your involvement with the Keepers of Silence," Laura said, her voice steady. "It's over. We have enough evidence to bring you to justice." Whitaker's smile widened. "You misunderstand, Detective. Justice is already being served. The university needs order, and I am merely ensuring that it is maintained." Laura stepped forward, her eyes blazing with determination. "Justice isn't murder. You've terrorized this campus, and it ends now." Whitaker's calm facade began to crack. "You're naive, Detective. You think you can stop us? We are everywhere." Before he could react, Laura's team moved in, restraining him. Whitaker struggled, but his efforts were futile. As he was led away, he cast a final chilling glance at Laura. "This isn't over, Detective. The Keepers of Silence will always find a way." With Professor Whitaker's arrest, the remaining members of the Keepers of Silence were quickly apprehended. The society's grip on the university was finally broken, and the campus began to breathe a collective sigh of relief. Emily and Sarah, still recovering from their ordeal, found strength in each other and in the support of their friends and family. They returned to their studies, determined to move forward and create a better future. Laura Bennett, hailed as a hero once more, continued her work with renewed vigor. She knew that the fight for justice was never truly over, but she was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Westbridge University, forever changed by the events that had unfolded, began to heal. The shadows of the past slowly receded, replaced by a sense of hope and resilience. The story of the silent scream and the Keepers of Silence became a distant memory, a reminder of the darkness that can lurk behind even the most respectable facades. As the seasons changed and the campus blossomed with new life, the echoes of fear were replaced by the promise of a brighter future. A future where justice and compassion prevailed, and the silent screams of the past were finally laid